welcome to CRE8. I'm very excited for this episode. We're here today with
Jon Haloossim.
All right, hello,
Yeah,
John. You go by John or Jonathan? What do you prefer?
John is too formal, so
John.
yeah. Or
John
Jonathan is too formal.
Okay, so you kind of go by John.
Yes.
All right.
Keep it simple.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What kind of art do you do, John?
I do photography, mainly photography, but I try to make it a little bit different, a little bit add some more dimension to it. So yeah.
I was fortunate enough to do an exhibit with you quite a while ago, and I did get to see your beautiful artwork, and it was so stunning. I remember walking up to it, and I was mesmerized by it, and I was staring at it for quite a while. Do you mind telling us, you didn't bring anything today, unfortunately, but
No,
even for everybody who's just listening in, maybe you can kind of explain what you really do.
So, I mean, photography is a very two-dimensional art form. It's just very flat. I mean, you can make it 3D as possible with the actual concept of what's in the photo. But I try to add kind of a dimensional aspect to it, a three-dimensional aspect to it. So, and I play a lot with textures. So whether that be with the frame that you use and the actual thing that's photographed, the person that's photographed, I mostly photograph people in different scenarios or something like that. So I've been working a lot with sprinkles and candy and stuff like that, which is kind of a playful thing. So that whole thing adds kind of a texture to the body, adds a texture that you can kind of almost touch. So then you create a frame around it and kind of make that do the same thing.
Yeah, I remember staring at you painting it because of the candy effect, the sprinkle effect, and it was so colorful. I just remember I was like, you just kind of want to eat it. It looks so inviting and kind of like almost stimulates all your senses, not just your eyes.
I get a lot of weird comments about how it makes people hungry and horny.
Those are good.
Well, it's because you're making, because I'm making clothing out of sprinkles on people. So then it goes onto the body directly, and then there's unintended sexual aspect to it, but I guess that's what people kind of feel, but whatever you feel, that's good. But, I mean, that's only one thing. Then there was another thing where I pierced photographs with shattered glass, which was a whole other thing, and that one had a little bit more depth, a little bit more emotion, and that kind of feeling. So,
yeah, I can see how definitely you use multiple ways of kind of like bringing out emotions. I remember this one piece, I think with the balloon, wasn't she almost
yeah. She's being hung by a balloon, kind of like a ballerina girl being hung by a balloon. And yeah, I mean, there was supposed to be kind of a whimsical aspect to it. There's always kind of like a whimsical, very colorful aspect to it, like the red balloon with black and white. Everything else was pretty much black and white. So also colors is a very big thing to me, like color theory and going into that and utilizing that in one way or another, because people are very drawn to that. So
yes. I'm definitely one of them. The more colorful, the better. Yeah. And you use kind of like the colors on I know, just the brighter the better. It's kind of like catch my eye. Sorry.
So like what I've mostly been doing now is kind of just like keeping the background simpler, just a single color, and then you do different stuff with the people. So there's just kind of super bright backgrounds and then bodies. I guess that's a good way to put it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you did you go to school for that, or do you feel like you naturally just inclined to kind of know what kind of like aesthetically works?
I went to school for film.
Okay.
And I worked in the film industry for maybe about 8 years after I graduated. And then as time went on, I got a little bored of it, so I kind of transitioned, and so yeah, it all came with this studio that I had, so it just allowed me to like play with things a little bit more. So yeah.
So you didn't go to art school per se. You kind of like just transitioned.
Exactly.
Your own desire.
Exactly. I studied a lot of filmmakers. I studied film theory, so we studied a lot of filmmakers. learned from a lot of directors, that sort of thing, and kind of took that into aspects of what I was doing.
Is there any one or a few people that you feel like they're really huge inspirations, or do you feel like it's just kind of like a mix of?
It's a mix of a lot of people. Damn, now it's like I'm put on the spot.
It's okay. I mean, you don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that along the way also you pick up different things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of older films, a lot of the French films, a lot of the Italian films from back in the day. Also like film noir. So there's like a lot of things that influence me. But also people like David Lynch, Tarantino, but Antonioni, Fellini, Bertolucci, all those people. They utilize storytelling, space, and a lot of other things that, I don't know, we kind of don't see anymore. So,
Yeah, I hear you. You were saying earlier today that you don't just do photography at the moment, you also do different things, like you work with wood and...
Yeah, so that's a whole other thing. Like, for my photos, I make all the frames now. I didn't do that before, but I also do a little bit of furniture making, but that's like a whole other thing, like beds and coffee tables and like...
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Just you started out of curiosity and just kind of developed the whole passion for it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just, I kind of enjoy working with my hands. So whatever that may be, whether that be molding something or something like that. But yeah, I've kind of been drawn to wood because it's such an interesting thing. You can kind of figure out how to make it into whatever you want.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you need also big machines to kind of deal with all that stuff. Do you have access to that, or
yeah,
is that the challenge?
Some I went out and I got some. I got a miter saw and like a table saw and like little tools as well, drills, and I kind of like built my own little workshop.
So can people just come to you and be like, "Hey, I have this in mind. Would you do me something?" Or
if they ask me, sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or you just kind of go by whatever you feel like, and then people see it.
Well, I mean, I've made, as far as furniture goes, I've made a few things. So if they want to choose something that I've already made, but I'm sure I can figure out how to make like other things as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's incredible. I can totally relate to wanting to just kind of like creatively express yourself with whatever kind of material comes your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's also a very interesting to kind of tap into things you're not familiar with and trying to figure it all out and stuff. Do you I told you, Irvin, I know this stuff is always very personal, but kind of like the heart of the show is really to make this as humanistic as possible and kind of like share things that you feel have been the most challenging along the way as being an artist in this crazy world where things are not, there's not always enough room for voices of artistic, background.
Yeah.
So what do you feel are the most challenging things in your
Well, I mean,
area?
In terms of emotionally or trying to convey like something on a physical plane?
I think struggles are mostly internal.
Okay.
It's just kind of like I just don't know how to. I don't know what like make money off of, or kind of like bring onto the canvas what I really want to say,
Gotcha.
or try to convince my parents that I'm not a failure. I don't know. It looks different for everyone.
Gotcha. I mean, for me, it's just like an emotional outlet. So whatever that may be, whatever I'm kind of feeling at the time. So I try to convey certain things in an indirect way, not so like matter of fact, because we all kind of go through some sort of metamorphosis, and we all have challenges. So I hope people can just kind of see that and kind of interpret it in whatever kind of way they see it and feel maybe what I'm feeling. So yeah, I mean, there's been stuff that I've done that's very whimsical and playful, but then there's some stuff like with the shattered glass. That was a very dark time. I was sick for a period of time. And I had a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, and I kind of directed that towards feeling like you want to hurt something, but not any living thing, but you make it that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I always thought it's so interesting You know how they say when artists are like when it's like during their darkest time is kind of like when they come up with the best kind of like of the work. I'm the opposite. I realize that for me it's like when I'm in a good mood I can create really easily, and then when I'm depressed I can't. There's nothing that comes out.
It's different for people.
Yeah,
it's
but
very
do you
different
feel like you can use that? Because I think that's the most beautiful thing, right? When you can actually, turn those kind of like bad moments into something creative and just actually.
I think it's therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. I think I utilize that as a kind of release.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just being bottled up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. You have very supportive parents. Is your family all with you?
I mean, in a sense, they're very what's it called? We're Persian Jewish. So they're more concerned about like business aspects of certain things and stuff like that, which I've also been good with. So I don't think they've seen some of the stuff that I've done. They haven't seen a lot of the stuff. As long as I'm doing okay in terms of money wise, then they're not really tripping too much. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see how though usually they're going more for being a lawyer and doctor and stuff like that. Yeah. So did you have to fight your way through that a little bit, through that cliche, or through those expectations, or again it's just all about as long as you can be kind of self.
Yeah, I mean there's a certain to that sort of culture there is a certain type of person, certain cliche that comes with all of it. And I don't think I necessarily fit that mold. I mean, I grew up in LA and they grew up in Iran and they came here, so it's just like very different worlds.
Yeah. But you get along with them?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So you were born and raised in LA?
Oh,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
Oh, okay.
But I was raised in Switzerland, which was a very, very, very kind of like a bank country where you definitely go to business school, and that's kind of like, and that's what I did, and that's why I'm here.
Gotcha.
So I was like, don't force me into that stuff, please, because that was really hard.
Yeah.
Because somebody who creatively has to keep expressing, it's really hard to have an 8 to 5. For sure.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah. What are you currently working on? Are you doing anything fun?
So recently, there are a few things. So recently I started. I try to find different textures to play with. So sprinkles, rope, all that sort of stuff. So then you can kind of mold it into different things. So right now, I kind of started playing with liquid latex. And that might sound sexual in one way or another or bondagey, but it's kind of not. I think there's like a whole cocoon aspect to it, where you're kind of being, you're in a cocoon and then you're going through a metamorphosis and then you're kind of releasing, because with the liquid latex you can kind of like pull it off you, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and I mean I have a few other concepts in the back of my mind in terms of what I'm working with, but I haven't gotten down to working with it yet. So yeah.
But it's still you're still playing with photography, correct? Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you shoot outside, inside, or are you just kind of like wherever you feel?
Mostly I shoot inside my studio, on colorful backdrops, and try to do a lot of different things with different colors.
Yeah.
Like, because some of them are very dark images, so that adding super bright colors gives kind of a different emotion to it. Might give it a sunny feel to something that seems really depressing. So yeah. Outside, not too much. I should probably shoot more outside, but I don't.
I think the natural light is very hard. I mean, you're just dealing with the whole force of nature that's uncontrollable.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that, but it's just like, we're in Los Angeles, like, all of it is just concrete and it doesn't look that interesting. If you want to go do outside, you got to go 2 hours outside. Or go to Los Angeles National Forest, or something like that, so yeah.
Do you do a lot of art shows, or do you mostly just kind of like go word of mouth?
I do art shows every so often. The last one that I did was Nude Art LA. I do art shows myself.
That just happened now, didn't it?
Yeah, which was a lot of fun. because I got to do a live sprinkle fashion show, which was really cool. And I was selling sprinkle sunglasses and all that. So it's cool. I do my own art shows every so often. Not as often as I like. The last one I probably did was like a year ago, which was the Voyeur Hotel.
Oh, fun.
Which was kind of cool. There was a lot of people involved. There was about 18 different artists involved. Everyone had room to kind of explore what voyeurism meant to them. So it was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Are you planning on another one for this year?
We've been talking about it, but we haven't gotten around to doing it. We have the theme down. We kind of have the idea down. It would be called "Isn't This Where We Came In," which is based on an album. What's his name? I forgot his name. By the guy who made the musical for Oliver the Musical. So way back in the day, and he made this really obscure album in the 1960s called "Isn't This Where We Came In," and it's all about being born and going through life. So our show would be kind of like you walk in, you're born, and then you're going through the stages of development, and you encounter different installations, which would kind of perceive that.
That is so interesting. I want to definitely come to that show.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So,
but we keep pushing it up. So
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Cool.
Have fun. So it's always the same group of people that just kind of put these together, or are you are you the head of the show and you're just kind of like deciding on what and who?
For this show, I think there's about like 4 people who've like really we've sat down and tried to come up with ideas. For the last show, it was kind of me, and then like bringing in people, and then kind of going with certain ideas and giving people the freedom to kind of do what they want in the space that they want.
That's so cool. It sounds super fun, especially having a whole space where everybody can have their own installation. And I'm assuming it's all rooms, right?
Well, you kind of create this. So I have a studio. There's 2 rooms. And it's a pretty big space. It's like 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
So, and then everyone, you kind of divide it up. So there was one, in the last show, the Voyeur Hotel, there was one room that was all artwork on the wall, and then the other room was all installations, where people, like my installation was, because it was the Voyeur Hotel, was a peephole room. So it was a 4x4 room, and then 8 feet tall, and then there was a bunch of little peepholes. And then as people are either performing or playing music or even doing nothing, like sleeping, you kind of look through the peepholes and see what they're doing. And
you would have it scheduled so something would change all the time?
Yeah. So I think we started off with someone sleeping or doing their nails, and then the next person was like rubbing lipstick all over their body, and then we eventually got to musical acts.
How incredible.
Yeah.
Fun.
So it was like...
Was that a huge hit? Did that do well?
Yeah, I was actually surprised how many people showed up. It was like 400 people or something.
Wow. Was it just one night?
It was one night. I actually just thought like no one would come. And then like 400 people came.
Wow.
Not at once, but like throughout the night, yeah.
Oh, what a wonderful surprise.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Because you don't know. You just kind of do something and
of
like,
course.
I'm kind of the type of person who thinks like the worst will happen. So
Well, in this case, you were definitely wrong.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it's all good.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. We go to the part where we have these random questions that I have you pull. If you don't mind, we'll maybe do one, if that's okay with you.
Fine. Yeah.
Opa. Hold on, let me just make sure I didn't stop my podcast. That is it.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
If you don't mind reading it out loud so we know what you're answering.
Are you aware that in America Are you aware that women in America are getting paid less than men, and does that affect you? Yeah, I am aware. What is it? What is it? Like for every dollar they get paid 70 cents or something like that, 80 cents or something. I mean, it doesn't affect me directly, obviously, but I do sympathize with that. So I mean, I'm all there for the fight for equality, and for making equal pay, because that's kind of a ridiculous thing. Like, what is it, 70 cents or 80 cents?
I think it's 70 cents.
Something like that. Like, that's kind of not fair at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid, because, like, honestly, you guys do so much more shit than us. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did this, I mean, I don't want to bore you, but there's this whole movie called Equal Means Equal, and that's kind of like where the question came up, because it was a whole documentary about how women don't get equal pay, and also when you're pregnant, you know, you basically get no help anymore, and people can fire you, and this abortion law just happened, so it's kind of like, I can't have an abortion, yet the state won't help me if I'm a single mom. It's like, you're making me live on the street.
They put way too many rules and too many restrictions on anybody that's not a white male. And I don't really understand why. It's just like you kind of need to push certain people out of office and get kind of a variety in there. So then there's like, did you see the people who voted on the abortion thing?
Yeah, I know.
It was like 25 old white dudes or something.
I know.
So yeah.
I know. Didn't one get kicked out or something because he asked his lover to get an abortion?
That was something from 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I recently saw that too. But I think they were just bringing that back up just to like spur something. So yeah.
I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean to make this into a whole political.
No, it's all good.
But I do have a bunch of women that are on the show as well.
I totally understand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So cool. And if I think you have maybe something that you're willing to give away for readers and viewers and listeners.
So what I have an Etsy. If anybody wants to go on there, I can give you a discount on some prints or some sprinkle eyeglass frames or something like that. You sprinkle sunglasses? Yeah, which is kind of just like a fun. Yeah, super fun, and honestly, it's more stylish than you think.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they send you in their glasses and then you sprinkle it, or you already have a pair of glasses and you can just pick them?
No, they just pick them. I have them.
I see.
I have them. If they wanted me to do their glasses, I could do it. I mean, it's a little bit of a process to make them and make sure they stick, because I'm using actual food.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you have to use adhesive, acrylic, all this sort of stuff to kind of make everything melt, fall, all that sort of stuff.
Wow, so it's quite a procedure then.
Yeah. But it looks cool.
Yeah, no, I bet. That's awesome. I definitely want a pair of those.
Cool.
John, thank you so much. By the way, John has been sick for the last few days, so we've been postponing this for a while, and he's like literally dragging himself out to really be able to be
I'm
with
okay.
you guys.
I'm okay.
And I really appreciate this so
Thank
much.
You for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I always love seeing your posts and the new art that you do, and it's always so inspiring.
Yeah.
And so cool and so bright and just so loud and wonderful. So thanks for being an artist in this crazy world.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna give you a hug. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.